Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to episode 37 of the X Button Gaming Podcast and our first video podcast, which is real interesting, but it's going to be fun. I'm excited. Thanks for helping. Well, thanks for setting this up. You didn't help me set it up. You guys just did it. But my guests today, who are the only reason this is on video, are to my right. The first time I've ever said this, and it actually makes sense because I do this all the time and nobody can see. To my right, my friend Avery, back from the sports episode about a year ago now.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that earlier.
So,
it's been about a year.
Yeah, I'm glad that you could join us for this.
Yeah.
So, and thanks for hosting it too. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And then
comfy couch.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
And I have a comfy captain's chair over here.
There you go. Well, you're the host. You had to go on the solo seat.
I'm just calling me Solo.
Oh gosh.
And then to the right, we got my friend Jalen. 2 episodes in a row.
Look at that.
And I was thinking about it. Other than Alex, you might be the only guest who, after their first appearance, was on immediately again.
That's a stat. That's like a next level stat. Like first person to be 2 episodes in a row and to be this tall.
He is our tallest guest.
We have to make it a baseball stat
and to
somehow.
wear predominantly cat wear.
Yeah.
He did wear a lot of cat stuff.
The only guy that's ever
you
been
guys
on
are both
twice in a
tall.
row with a cat on his shirt.
Did you have a cat shirt on last time?
What
That
did
would
I
be
wear?
real.
I was just trying to make it hyper specific so that it could only apply to Jalen
Yeah.
right
I can't
now.
remember what I wore.
But you might be the tallest because you guys are probably the 2 tallest that I've had on. But you're taller than Avery.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're getting to height stats.
I am 6'2", 195.
I'm 6'5", 195, 200 on a good day.
I'm not answering this.
Yeah.
I'm 6 and more than that. We'll just say that. Yeah. No, so I'm glad you guys could join me, and thanks again for setting this up. It's going to be interesting trying to remember to look at the camera when I'm talking to the audience.
We're happy to do it.
Yeah, man. Of course.
So this will be fun. We are here. Oh, and speaking of what we're going to be talking about today, it's a very Star Wars centric episode because we're recording on May the 4th, which humorously enough ended up completely by chance because I record the episodes on Thursdays normally.
Perfect.
And it just so happened when I messaged you about setting up this episode, it was happenstance.
Yeah.
And it was about Star Wars this whole time. So it's we're happy.
The Force got its way.
Yeah. So I had this elaborate plan. I was like, at this point, when I say we're going to be talking about Star Wars, I'm going to push the sound button on here, and it's going to play Duel of Fates. But I messed up, and instead it does. Whoops. So, yeah. That was supposed to be a good, funny little sound bit that I'd use, but I put it on here twice. So now we just get Jar Jar to really mock me, and hopefully I find use for it throughout the episode, but I'm disappointed the Duel of Fates is
you guys
out.
will just have to imagine the Duel of Fates.
It's imagine Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are here.
The 2 best parts of Phantom of the Menace, really.
Jar Jar and the Duel of Fates? Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. I was just going to let you keep going. No, so normally we start off by talking about what we've been playing, but we talked about it, and we've all been playing basically the same game, and it's also what we're going to be talking about in the main subject somewhat, and that's Jedi Survivor. It will be non-spoilery, but there's no point in talking about it twice. So we're just going to skip what we've been playing, talk about just a few little news bits that we have, and then go into the main topic. Talk about some Star Wars. Also, for those watching now, you can see that I am wearing my Tojem and Earl shirt because I talk about Tojem and Earl too much, according to a few people. So I decided for the first time on video, I have to wear it.
The double down.
Yeah, I should have I have a Tojem and Earl hat and sweater too. I should have just came decked.
Yeah, more than double down.
Yeah, the quad down. So anyway, let's talk about some news. Did you guys have a few news points that you wanted to mention?
I think my only one was I saw earlier that Kotaku was really upset that they didn't get a review copy of the new Zelda game, but they are far from
reputable anymore.
Yeah. Nintendo is not the only one that's blacklisted them, and this goes back years.
Yeah, well, you were mentioning even back to when Fallout 4 had some leaks, and they just happily shared them.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, it's in Boston, and it's called Fallout 4, and blah, 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 blah. And so Bethesda doesn't give them anything. Nintendo doesn't give them anything.
Yeah, you just can't do that in this industry. Leaks are a big no-no. These games have so much time put into them. The people like to follow their very strict information release schedules.
Yeah.
It's the same with movies. So
Yeah.
why they would think that they could have got away with that?
Well, and it's not fun for the fans when stuff like that happens because it ruins the entire like build up that is planned, and then all of a sudden all this stuff and the build up means nothing, and you're less excited because you don't get that proper.
Yeah, and I mean there are the people that like live for the leaks, but for the I don't want to say for the majority, the more like genuine hardcore fans, I guess, you like the surprise. It's like when a new Star Wars movie comes out, we might watch one trailer, but after that, like most of us go black until media blackout until the movie's released.
I'm the guy that for any movie, I'll watch the first 10 seconds of the trailer basically for the tone promise, and then I'm like, yeah, good enough, I'll go see it, and then I don't want anything more than that.
I get that. I totally get that. It's just like that's where a lot of the hype comes in.
Yeah.
That suspense of what it's going to be. Sometimes we're disappointed.
That's my first time hearing the term tone promise. Like, I'm going to start doing that with, like, friendships or something. Like, you meet someone, like, I was in it for, like, 10 seconds just to get the tone promise, and then I was like, I wasn't feeling it. So,
The vibe
was
was off,
out.
man.
Man, I'm out. Sorry, buddy. Your tone promise was a lie.
yeah, no spoilers.
So I had an interesting note. This was actually from a couple weeks ago, but I was going to bring it up, and it was on the episode I ended up having to cancel last minute. But that's that Mario isn't an actual doctor. So here we all have thought that Dr. Mario
He's a nurse.
actually had a doctorate, but
Sorry,
no.
you nurses out there. Nurses are important too.
I mean, they got people through COVID.
Amen.
But yeah.
What's the lowest level of nurse?
I can't.
Wait, what'd you say?
What's the lowest level of nurse?
Is this a joke?
No.
No.
I thought
like,
you
is
said
that
something
what-
about the love nurse. And I
No,
was
no,
like,
no.
Love nurse.
Is Mario like the lowest level of nurse? Like he's the bottom rung of the healthcare industry?
Yeah, for sure.
Apparently, yeah, it was Miyamoto shared that they wanted to bring Dr. Mario into the movie, but felt like it would be dishonest since he's not actually a doctor. I love how serious it was too. And then he said Mario is just a blue collar regular person. So even when he becomes a doctor, there's sort of like a shadiness. Like, can I trust this person?
Shady doctor.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really funny, and I had to bring it up. That's why I'm glad I looked through. I didn't even mean to. I had it pulled up still my notes from that episode that, like I said, that I ended up not being able to do, and I was like, oh, I forgot to bring that up. So
Do you really want a tradesperson operating on you? Come on.
He's like,
can plumb?
I can use this like a wrench. He's like in a back alley performing like appendectomies.
He takes 2 C wrenches to your intestines.
got it. Oh god. Let's go. Oh man.
It's a colonoscopy.
Oh, then what's the star sound? When does that go? Actually, when he's running from his mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh
When
man.
the incision goes too deep.
Yeah. Nightmares. Yeah. Now I'm afraid of Dr. Mario. I can't even play that game.
Yeah.
Craigslist doctor.
Thanks.
The black market. So Jalen, did you have any relevant news on
Check
like
this
mine?
out. Check this out. Wii Sports inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Hey.
Wow.
That's got to be one of the newer games to be inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame.
I know. I mean,
Is it that new anymore?
I know. Don't make, you
I don't
make me feel
know.
old.
To be honest, guys, I just Googled video game news just because the last time I looked, there was nothing interesting. And this just came up 2 hours ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's-
is news.
that
And
is
it's
new
one of the
news.
best-selling games of all time.
It was
is.
picked alongside Barbie fashion designer Computer Space.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Computer Space is a separate title.
Oh,
As we learned on the sports episode, which I totally bombed that question, it's one of the best spelling, or isn't it the #1 best selling sports game?
I
I
think
mean,
so.
it just comes with every Wii, right?
Yeah. It cheated because it came with the majority of the Wiis that came out. And
Well, that's
then
why it wasn't even in my head.
Yeah, I know it's a cheat, but yeah, it's the same with Tetris. They consider Tetris one of the best-selling games of all time, but it was packed in with every Game Boy for years, and then other consoles I think had packed in Tetris too. So
Where is the Hall of Fame? Is it a building you can go to and look at the video games on a wall?
I bet.
Like in, I don't know.
Yeah, you gonna do baseball?
Or any of them. I'm like, where are they?
Yeah, that's a
One's
good
in New
question.
York. I think baseball's
Ohio
in New York,
somewhere?
I think hockey's in Ontario, and then Texas is, football is football Texas. You know what I mean. I don't know where it is.
Well, I know the Video Game Museum is in Texas. Maybe they have.
Is it a big museum?
Apparently, it's really big.
I bet it's big.
Everything in Texas is
Texas.
big.
I've got one. Actually, my son was born on Mario Day. He'll
Hey-o.
be 8 weeks old tomorrow.
And you named him Mario?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Well, I mean, it's a dead giveaway.
Is that his
Mario.
You forwent your last name.
Yeah. His name's Arthur, but it's pronounced Mario.
Yeah, it's spelled Arthur.
Yeah, but if they don't say it wrong because he gets mad.
But yeah.
He is Mario. Oh,
But what is the best Wii sport? Just real quick. Is it bowling? Is it boxing? Is it tennis? Is tennis on there?
I
Golf?
always liked tennis the most, I think.
Yeah.
But bowling was the general go-to.
Yeah.
All I remember is that
I loved golf.
yeah.
Yeah.
I never played golf. It was always bowling because I didn't have a Wii, so I just play it at like my cousin's house. And I remember we'd do boxing, and he would never actually box. He would just sit there with the Joy-Cons in his lap and just. I can do this because there's video.
You have to watch the video to see what he's doing.
I think we can hear what he's doing.
It's weird.
He's not punching. He's basically playing drums, and he's like knocking me out. And I'm like, this isn't fair.
You're cheating.
No.
Well, I even got like that with bowling when I go to people's houses. Like I figured out how to play it where I could just twitch my wrist and still get strikes.
He's just bowling 300, not even moving
Yeah.
his muscle.
Yeah.
Did you ever do a perfect game?
I don't think so. I don't remember. So I think if I did, I'd remember.
I think so too.
But you remember how fun it was though, like to really get into it and like act like you're fully doing a bowling like stance.
Comes in bowling shoes in his living room.
I had the Wii remote bowling ball. No, I didn't have that, but that would have been cool.
I just remember smacking my sister in the back of the head while we were playing tennis.
That wasn't an accident.
I don't
was
think
it?
Oh man.
those who know.
Yeah, and she doesn't remember anything. So.
Yeah, she hasn't remembered anything since.
She's just
I got her good.
taught her to talk back to me.
Yeah, it was an ace.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was it.
Yeah. No, it's just it's now that you brought it up, it's crazy to me that game is 18 years old, probably 2005, 2006. So 17 years old. That was my first year at GameStop.
Wow.
Then. So I've just aged myself. I'm older than a lot of young people like that might actually listen to this one day.
I'm only 14.
Yeah, with a child, with child, huh? 14 with child.
Gotta go.
Got a blast.
Jimmy Neutron.
He neutroned his way out of here. Brain blast. Oh man, Goddard. Dude, Jimmy Neutron was something else.
I love that show.
That show was at the end of like. I've never really stopped watching cartoons, but when you hit like teen years, you're kind of like, not cartoons, real shows are what I watch, or anime, I guess. But Jimmy Neutron was like at the tail end of that, and I remember catching an episode, like being like, I don't watch cartoons, but catching and just cracking up when Carl was like, my fingers look like little pink plums, and went and took a bite, and I was like, oh, and just being like, what is this?
I'll always remember I think it was in the movie where all the parents are gone, right? Wasn't like the aliens or like someone makes a wish and all the parents are gone. So the first thing Sheen does, he's like, I'm peeing
In the shower.
I remember that,
and
like,
from that day forward, I peed in the shower every day.
right now, I'll pee in your shower.
Yeah. When I came here and I used the bathroom, I did not go in the toilet.
I thought it sounded funny in there.
Wow, I'm just taking a shower. All right.
Okay. And I remember, and then a little bit later, he's like, and I'm still peeing.
I'm still got it.
Oh man.
I'm still doing it.
Fun fact about Jimmy Neutron, it was one of the first major cartoon theatrical releases that had an all actual voice acting cast in a long time, like since the 70s, because they would always use celebrities in
Right.
those movies, and they actually used just voice actors that then got to go on and do the show. So
Fascinating.
you're welcome. This is now a Jimmy Neutron podcast.
We could do a full like Nickelodeon episode
Let's
because there's
go.
some good like Nickelodeon video games.
There are. I remember back on was it? I guess it was PS1. The SpongeBob game on there. Battle for Bikini Bottom was later, but everybody loved that game.
Speaking of news, I did just get a notification that Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is on sale on Steam.
Shut
Hey,
up.
That is some.
Oh, they're listening, you guys. They are tapped in.
That is Nickelodeon is listening. Yeah. Oh
Is that an
man,
orange blimp outside?
they're tuned to
We
the
got
podcast. My listener base must be a lot younger than I think it is. Oh man, no, that's hilarious. And then I had only other news thing that it's now not really relevant because it was like a month ago, but because I didn't bring it up, I figured why not bring it up now? And that's that PlayStation is supposedly working on their own handheld again.
Nice.
Which could be cool because the PSP and the Vita were both awesome.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's going to be tied to the cloud and like work as like a mobile PS5. So
Like a
it'll,
remote play
it'll
kind of
like be
thing?
like a remote play like streaming device. And I just don't see. I don't know. Like I don't know if I understand what the point of that is.
I don't think I like that because on my Steam Deck I installed I think it's Chiaki, and the input delay even in my house makes it so I don't like it.
Yeah. And that's what I think. Like, still at this point, cloud gaming is still pretty niche, or in like streaming and stuff, because not everybody has that level of internet. And then two, like, who has a PS5 that will be? I mean, because I think, do you have to be on the same Wi-Fi network? I mean, who knows? This is all still speculative right now.
Well, for my thing, I don't think you have to be on the same network. They both have to be connected to the internet. And I don't know. I just try to play games, and I'm like, I know that I put the input in time, and it did
That's
not
frustrating.
take it.
Yeah, stuff like that would drive me nuts. And like, I don't know. I just don't see a practical need for it. I mean, maybe if it worked on when you go on vacation, but if you have to have such good Wi-Fi,
You're
to
not
make
getting
it
that
work,
at a hotel.
Yeah, so I don't know. Do I hope that it ends up being that it's actually like a new PSP or PS Vita that has that as a capability? Sure, like that would be great. Some people might like that, but I'm all for a new Sony handheld.
Just for you to lose for
Hey,
a long time.
But then find it again
find it
and become
years later.
overly obsessed with buying games for it. Yeah, I have a problem.
Digitally.
No, physically. Oh, well, yeah, that might be digital only.
Yeah.
That would probably wane my interest just a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I have a problem to the camera.
I'm a digital only guy, you guys.
I've turned into that.
Yeah.
It's healthier. But then
It's for my health.
if the shop ever closes down, then I mean, like you're not spending as much money. Well, that's not true. You're taking up less space.
Yeah.
But my big thing is if the shop ever closes down and I just lose all that, then I'll just be like, but then maybe, most people probably don't care as much as I do. Let me ask you guys. Now I'm surveying about gaming.
Please do.
When you play a game once, how often do you play that game again?
Almost never.
Yeah.
But I also don't.
I don't even finish games the first time.
That's a true talent.
I don't even play it a full one time.
I also don't delete them. So even if the shop shut down, I'm not that worried about it if I ever wanted to go back. But if we're being real,
Which we
I'm
are.
not going back.
Yeah. You know what Jar Jar has to say about that?
Crazy. Whoops.
No, I get it. I think that's probably more common than I think. I think my problem is I spend a lot of time in like collecting forums and stuff and like reading other people. So like the majority of, and then like I have friends like James who are, obsessive collectors too. So just bad influence. I'm not the problem. They're the problem.
Yeah.
No, I'm the problem. I definitely feed into it and then feed into other people's collection habits.
I was right there with you, but then it was like once I was like, I just don't want to go to the store to buy this game. So I just downloaded it.
That's what
and
Amazon's
then the
for.
floodgates opened.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to play it then.
Dude,
I didn't
Steam-
want to wait 4 days for it to show up, even though Amazon told me to be there in 2.
Yeah. Stupid Amazon.
Lies.
Steam is a whole nother level of like, it's a rabbit hole. You get a Steam sale, like just go crazy buying games for dirt cheap.
That you'll never play.
Yeah, just grow that library. So, well, that's it for news. So let's go ahead and just start talking some Star Wars. So I figured
Crazy.
I just had to play that one more time because I'll probably forget going forward.
If you hit it multiple times, does it like auto start again at the beginning?
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You gotta give it like a slight pause.
Crazy.
This is crazy.
Also, this being our first time doing video and our clips only lasting 30 minutes, we might have to do some sort of segue here and restart these clips.
You guys will have to lead the charge on that.
Full transparency, we don't really know what we're doing either.
This video could be wild. All right, so let's talk some Star Wars. So when I talked to Jalen originally about possibly being on an episode, he talked about wanting to talk about Fallen Order and possibly Survivor because it was getting ready to come out. So it worked out perfectly. Here we are, July 4th, May the 4th, talking about Star Wars. So I figured what better way, let me rephrase that or take that out completely. So Star Wars is one of those things that just about everybody loves, but I find that a lot of listeners, a lot of my friends all love Star Wars or love to hate Star Wars. Either way, they love Star Wars.
Right.
Most people that love Star Wars actually hate it a little bit.
I think that seems to be true. I love Star Wars, and I don't think I hate much about it. I can complain about some things, I'm sure, but
I mean, I'm right there with you. I like the vast majority of it. I'm not looking for things to dislike about it.
I could easily find things, but I could do that with anything.
Yeah.
But I prefer to just like it.
Yeah, I'm in like the grateful camp.
Yes.
Like I'm just grateful when new stuff comes out. You know,
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I remember being.
I think that's healthier.
I remember when I first heard that there was like another sequel. There was a sequel trilogy coming out. I was just like, I hope, that things go on long enough for those movies to come out.
I did the same
I sure
thing.
hope when we get there.
And now some people are probably wishing that it hadn't.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah.
No, that I was just talking about this with somebody recently, or maybe I just thought it. Whatever. Just that hype before Episode 7 came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think even the people who hate the sequel trilogy and hate everything Disney Star Wars right now can admit that that hype was like we'll never have a hype like that again. Because now even if they do more Star Wars, people will be skeptical.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I remember like watching the original trailer, and then it was in September, that same day they released all of the first batch of new Star Wars stuff in stores, and me and James going around to different stores and like buying Black Series action figures, and I bought my first and only pop that I've ever bought to this day,
What'd you get?
Kylo Ren, because I was like assured that Kylo Ren was going to be a certified badass.
Uncertified.
Yeah, I ended up really liking Kylo Ren, but I think I was hoping he'd be a little bit more like a Darth Revan type.
Look, Anakin was whiny. Kylo was whiny.
And you know
Luke
what?
was whiny. They're all whiny.
They are.
It's the Skywalker
It's a fact.
trait.
Yeah.
It's a fact. That's what
go to Taunji Station.
Jasmine always laughs when we watch A New Hope, and then at the beginning when he's all whiny. That's part of the thing is he grows up as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
Luke, but so does Ben. So did Anakin. They all grew up. Some of them committed genocide. Some not so much. But
I watched Episode 7 today
did you?
on the way here.
Nice.
Didn't get in the wreck.
Perfect. That's the best way. The best way to watch a
One
movie.
eye on the road, one eye on the phone, just kind of like iguana eyes.
Dude, that's impressive. Oh man, I want to watch a movie with you in the car. I don't care if I die. I need to see this. No, man, but that hype was something else. But so just like, I guess where I was going with that was the fact that like Star Wars, it's something that so many people love. And this episode, it's our first Star Wars episode. I'm sure we'll have more, probably more centric to specific games or different type, whatever, more Star Wars specific. But this is going to be a little bit more general. So just for it being the first Star Wars themed episode, I figured let's talk a little bit about our history, not just with video games, but with Star Wars, like how we grew up. Like I'm pretty sure we all grew up with Star Wars as something we watched regularly.
Yeah.
So let's start with Avery. Do you remember your earliest Star Wars memory?
I was pretty little, and it was when the prequels were coming out. So I remember like the lightsaber Go-Gurts. You remember those?
I do remember those.
And the cereal spoons.
Oh, dude, I found one of those recently when I was going through my
really?
stuff. Yeah,
Nice.
it was still in the package.
That just like unlocked a memory I forgot I had.
I totally forgot about the Go-Gurts.
Yeah, no. And Plo Koon on the one. I was like, that guy's so cool. And then you watch the movies and he's like,
Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But in the Clone Wars, at least he got fleshed out some.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And so that's part of it. And then, lightsaber fights and making Star Wars movies on my own as a little kid and stuff like that. Battlefront, the original Battlefront games, the Lego Star Wars games, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. No, I feel that wholeheartedly. Jalen, what about you?
I remember my parents had the box set VHS of the original trilogy, and I think I only watched Return of the Jedi. Just like
Dude, that was my favorite one.
I just love Ewoks. Just
Yeah.
like
Dude, and you know why?
Me too.
Ewoks were made for kids.
yeah.
And that's why they're okay.
Yeah. No, honestly, even as an adult man, my favorite thing about Star Wars is like the whimsical characters.
Oh yeah, no, me too. When I say that, I'm not hating on the Ewoks because I love all that stuff. But
Yeah.
when there's so many Star Wars fans out there that hate like, oh, the Ewoks are stupid. Come on, Star Wars was for kids. That was literally it. We're just adults that happen to still like it.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't know.
Babu Frick?
Dude,
I
hilarious.
love that guy.
Yeah, that guy's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, sorry.
Crazy.
Oh man. Anyway, Jalen, I interrupted you.
And then, yeah, for sure, when the prequels came out, I think when Episode 1 came out on, it was probably VHS that we had. Maybe it was DVD. I'm not sure. But I watched that movie every single day for probably a year and a half. Like I kept count, easy 500 plus views on episode 1.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Easy.
I mean, I was about the same way. Episode 1 came out on video I was really young, but it was after a really weird time in my life. And it's what I did to like cope was
Yeah.
I literally watched episode 1 on repeat.
Yeah.
And
You're just
I
always
had no
on.
ideas that everybody thought it was crap. Like I
What
loved
are you
it.
guys
Because you're a
talking about?
kid.
Yeah, no, I loved it, and I still love it to this day. I don't care.
Did you go to the premiere in theater?
I went and saw it with James and Jordan, their dad, and his friend Raven. I think it was opening night 'cause it was packed.
Yeah.
packed. But I want to say I was like 10, maybe 11, so I was a little young to like really understand like the gravitas of what was happening.
Ooh, good word.
Yeah, I'm fancy. But like I remember it being a big deal. That's
Yeah.
like I was super stoked for Star Wars, but I think it was opening night, but you can't quote me on that.
Yeah, I remember it was the Lakewood Regal Cinema midnight showing for I was like 6 or 7 when it came
Yeah,
out.
dude, I was about to say you're younger than me and you remember that much. That's impressive.
Yeah, I remember the line was like way out to the parking lot, and some guy was dressed up as Darth Maul with those knockoff lightsabers they had that were like
Yes,
tricolored.
yes.
Yeah.
They look
Like
more like the
popsicles.
things that you use to like direct planes.
That's where all like the old airplane director they could just resell them.
Oh, we finally have a market for these things.
Can't make them fast enough.
And then
Keep up on
were you talking about early games as well, or just the movies?
Sure, yeah.
I wrote it down because I had this image in my mind, but I didn't know what it was from. So PlayStation 1, Star Wars, Masters of Taras
Terakasi.
Terakasi. My dad had it on PS1, I
Really?
guess, and I just remember the carbon freezing chamber on Bespin.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember that level, and I remember like the character select. And then I don't remember any gameplay at all. Was it kind of like a Tekken, like a
Yeah, it's a fighting game.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about that game is you can unlock Mara Jade, which at that point, she was just in the books. So like it was a surprisingly deep cut for like a actual release of a game because they didn't cross over much at that point.
I also remember playing the N64 one at friend's house. I can't remember what it was called.
Shadows of the Empire.
Yes.
Yeah. That's that. I love that game.
You posted about it.
Yep. Just a couple days ago.
Is it on the Switch online store?
Not yet. I wonder. I hope it comes, but with all the licensing, you never know.
Yeah.
But that game, it probably doesn't hold up, but it's like I can play it and still enjoy it. But I think I also understand that it's probably not that good anymore. But it's just nostalgia. It's so good.
I just remember like the the name of the creature's slipping my mind. Yeah.
What
Omaha.
describe it?
Yeah.
Yeah, white tusk.
Yes. Yeah. And like hiding behind blocks because it was too much for
Yeah.
my
You could-
small
You
child
could
to
walk
take
out
out
the
of.
door and let it close on it.
Yeah.
I never played it. I was more of a pod racer kid.
Dude, Pod Racer was good.
I
Game was hard.
Yeah.
just always pressing boost until you're blowing up constantly.
And running into the walls.
Yeah.
Dude, that game, yeah. Me and one of my friends played that game so much.
So much. Who is your character? Do you remember?
I liked Ben Quadraneros.
Yeah.
I just liked that. First off, he was kind of the joke character in the movie, and I thought it was cool you could unlock him.
What did his pod racer sound like?
I don't remember.
Was it
that.
kind of like was it that one? Or was it Sebulba's was
Just
more
do
like
them all.
go 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 go.
Yeah, his was the loud, clunky. I do remember that. Because, it's out. Pod Racer, they re-released recently on Switch and PlayStation.
Did they?
Yeah, they just
Where
polished
was
it
I?
up a little bit. It's not a full remake. It's just a re-release with a little bit of polish.
I saw someone did like a mod, like a PC mod, like in like the late 20 teens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it holds up. The
Yeah.
game still controls really well. And with the little like polishing up of everything that they did, it looks a little bit better. It's still a dated game, but it's surprising how fun that game is. And I don't know, they really just like caught lightning in a bottle with the releases around episode 1.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play the Phantom Menace game that came out?
I feel like I might have, but I don't really have any very clear memories of it.
That game was.
I remember like Naboo. Was it a side scroller or was
No,
it?
it was like 3D. You were like overhead, like you could actually move around and explore.
Yeah.
The game was nuts. First off, it was super, super hard. One of those games where it probably was harder than it needed to be because of bad controls. But the crazy thing about that game is you could kill literally anything and anybody.
Just imagine he's like killing plants.
I remember very vividly. I never finished this game, but I remember very, very vividly being on Tatooine, and Anakin's supposed to follow you, and he kept getting stuck and not following me correctly.
killed him?
I killed him, and I'm a little kid, and I was just like,
There goes the balance.
yeah,
Child on child violence.
I think I don't think it would. I think I thought it wouldn't let me do it, and then when it did, I was like, "Oh,
I'm
and
a
then,
murderer.
Sure enough, like these like big like city guards, like these giant. I don't remember what they were. These big monster things come out and they're like they stalk you until they get you. Like they won't. You can't. You can go into any building. It doesn't matter. Like they will come after you and they will kill you. Like you can't move on. But the
He's
funny,
just a slave. He doesn't deserve.
he didn't deserve a better life. Yeah. No man, I'll never forget because that was just wild to me. Like games didn't let you do that, especially movie-based
You
games.
can't do that now.
No.
Like, you can't kill kids in games.
Yeah, so everybody go play the Phantom Menace game.
the only
Kill
one
Jar
where you
Jar,
can kill
Anakin,
kids.
Get that out. Yeah, all right. It's been promoted here on X Button Gaming.
Oh god.
Do you remember the pack-in game for Xbox that was like Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, I never played it though.
I always played that
remember.
one at friends' houses too.
Was it good?
Oh yeah.
What-
I don't remember now. But
Good. I mean,
I had fun when I was playing it in the early 2000s at my friend's house.
That's all we
I
could
can
ask
commit
for.
to that.
Yeah. Okay. So it might not be good now, but it was good in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those games that I always wanted to play, but I just never owned it. So, and I think I have a copy of it now that I picked up way later, but I still never played it. That's the story of my life. Then that's why you shouldn't be a collector. But yeah, for me, like Star Wars, I remember being very young, and my dad and my sister, who was a decent amount older than me, loved Star Wars. So, like, I could not tell you the first time I watched it. I very clearly remember like watching Empire Strikes Back as a kid and just loving Yoda, thinking he was so cool. But it's kind of weird because you know how we usually have memories of stuff, and there's no first memory of that. It's just kind of like
Just always been there.
it's just been there. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I learned how to walk, and there Yoda was.
There he was. He led me there. Taught me how to walk before I could. I don't know. I was gonna be deep, but I'm done. But yeah, and I just always loved Star Wars. Like I don't remember which one you said, but like I remember picking up sticks in my backyard and like playing, like smacking each other with with them. Me and my friends, like
yeah.
playing Star Wars. And then, like, yeah, Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo. To age myself compared to you guys playing on PlayStation for the first time, that game was mind blowing. And the hours, I got so good at that game as a kid that I could beat it on Jedi. I think without using a continue. Like I definitely probably died. But
That's good.
To be fair, I probably cheated because there was. I'll talk about this a little bit later. But there was a cheat in that game where you could drop down to an area where you could just spawn. You could just like get extra lives. They spawned there, the lives and like weapons and stuff. You could just pick up.
Fair game.
And then you'd grab like a bunch of them, kill yourself, and then just do it again. So you just like multiply on lives. So I probably cheated, but I know that I could beat it on Jedi at least, and that was hard.
That's good.
We'd call that an any %, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you did it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I beat Star Wars on Jedi.
I used to do that with Tarzan on PS1.
Really?
Yeah.
That was actually a really cool game.
Tarzan?
Hey, if it works, it works.
Hey,
I remember
you do what you got to do, man.
Phil
No,
Collins.
Yeah.
he sings you through the whole game. I remember playing that game and being so impressed by the sliding on the trees in that game.
That was super cool.
Maybe I'm thinking of Kingdom Hearts.
No, I think that was on.
Was it in the game too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, it was like a side-scrolling platformer, but it had some stuff like that. You might be thinking of a Kingdom Hearts thing, but I remember it being in.
Okay. It could. I don't remember. I know it's in Kingdom Hearts 2, but I think I played that game. But I could be mixing them up.
Did you guys have pinecone fights when you were kids?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. My neighbor.
Well,
So-
it was just to tie it to everything. We used to have Star Wars.
It was
themed.
the Force.
Pinecone
Pinecones were the
fights,
Force.
yeah.
Yeah. No, we did the exact same thing. Me and my, I have a nephew who's just a few years younger than me. He would come over, and on Sundays, the neighbor kid who we'd play with he was Mormon, so he couldn't like hang out on Sundays. So he would stay in his yard, and we'd stay in our yard, and
just
we'd
huck at
and
each
we'd huck pine cones at each other.
What a loophole.
Yeah.
Can't hang out, but I can hit you with pine cones for my stoop.
I do think eventually that got kiboshed. I think he wasn't allowed to do that anymore either. But
It was probably one of those things where it only happened twice, but you're like, that was every day.
yeah, every Sunday for years, we were adults.
I remember hitting my cousin in the face so hard with a pine cone.
Jeez, what is with you? Just like smacking your
Hey, man.
What we've learned is Avery was a very violent
sister.
child.
She's knocked out. Cousin.
Still has a pine
Still-
cone in
he
his
had
face.
a
Like the
cone
pines from
scar.
the pine cone in his cheeks. And I was like, I
Still there. Don't
got
water it.
him. That was pretty good.
You're just
He's
proud.
strong with the force.
Yeah. Oh man, I am a Jedi master.
No,
Come
we
over
weren't
here.
playing Jedis. It was clones versus droids.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
that makes sense. Once again, aging me though.
Real quick, did you guys ever mess with the Star Wars trading cards?
The Wizards of the Coast one. Yeah, I played that.
You did?
ton, Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How did we never play together?
Probably
Just
because
ships
time-
passing in the night.
yeah,
you know?
time wise, I think by the time we even met, it
You
was
were-
already long since gone.
Yeah.
Oh man, sorry, not to
Well, that was just like that was a huge hobby. Like,
yeah.
from like 4th grade to maybe like 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever go like play in tournaments? Like
I'm
a-
older than you, so it was
you're-
like
yeah, so
I
like
wanna
college
say that was
to
like
like
9th, 10th, 11th. Jeez, what grade was I even in? Yeah, I was still in high school.
what class are you?
2005.
2005. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're 7 years older than me, school wise.
School wise, yeah. Yeah, I was definitely. I want to say I was in high
12?
school,
2012.
junior high. Well, when did it It was during episode 2, so whenever that was.
Yeah, like 04, 05,
Yeah.
right? Or no, yeah, 03?
Oh, 02. It was 02.
02.
Was when episode 2 came out. So yeah, that's
But anyways, I just wanted to say, what a good game.
dude. It was a lot of fun.
Deck building.
The ship and air and
Oh, yeah.
ground battle. Or,
Yeah, character, ground, space.
Oh yeah, and my goal was always to collect all the Padme cards.
I bet.
respect.
You
I really
died.
liked me some
What was-
Padme.
I bet your favorite one was on Geonosis, wasn't it?
It was.
Show that midriff, girl.
I would. My friend, one of my friends, also would play and collect. I would trade him whatever he wanted. I remember he got one of the holographic Padmes from Geonosis, and I was like,
gosh.
"Take
I'll
whatever
give you
want."
anything.
Pin him down, and you're like, give it to me.
I need that card, dude. I would watch anything with Natalie Portman in it when I was a kid. In that phase, I watched Where the Heart Is all the time.
I do that right now.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Feel that right there? That little bump, bump, bump. Oh, deep cut. Where the Heart Is.
Or the
You've never seen Where the Heart Is?
there was like the tactics figures game. Did you play
Dude,
that?
with the clicks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jordan played that,
Dude,
but I
I
never
love
did
that
it.
Called,
game.
wasn't it called clicks? Like CLIX?
I think
I think so. Yeah, because they did
Yeah.
click. You had to
Yeah,
click them
you
to
had
move them.
moves.
Yeah, because each one had a
Had so
certain
many.
amount of like clicks you were allowed to do with it. And me and my brother used to take the mattress off the bed.
And throw pine cones.
We've come full circle.
While he pulled the mattress off, I would just throw pine cones at him. And then after the mattress was off and he, was hurt, we'd play the tactics thing. So we'd have like this giant arena on the
Yeah.
plywood that was underneath the mattress.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, because you had the different ones. You had more range, which was like the small missiles. Then you had Jedis with like the force pushes. They were like big old like force webs.
Yeah.
Or the lightsaber ones where you pull it back and it whacks the other character.
Yeah, you had to get so close, and
You
I
really
hate when
did.
you like press the button. It's like nothing happened.
And you're next to like a shooting character and it just has to turn and
Oh,
you're done.
but what a fun game!
Yeah,
It was
I
fun.
think I played it a few times because, like I said, I remember Jordan was into it for a little while. But I just recently saw, I think, a TikTok video of people that were
Coming
like,
back?
I don't know if it was coming back as much as they were like, "Do you guys remember this? Let's just do a battle with it." And like, sure enough, it's funny watching it because you're like, "Wow, it was really hard to be accurate and actually hit things with those missiles and stuff." Like,
Yeah, the walk of shame. We have to go walk across that room and go pick up your missed
oh man.
projectile.
It rolls under the bed.
Oh gosh.
And then they did Star Wars miniatures. Did you guys ever do those? Where they're actually like a little more like Warhammer miniatures, but they
never
were
play
fully
that.
painted. I never played it because it was way too expensive for me. I didn't have the money for it. But years later, I would go to the Star Wars store in Aberdeen, and he had a whole bucket of them. So I like dug through it and just bought a bunch of them because they were cool. I found a Darth Revan one, and like because they did movies, expanded universe, they had characters for everything in that. But yeah, I never really played it, but I just thought it was super cool because I always wanted to get into Warhammer and never did that either.
Yeah, shout out Star Wars store, Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Is it still open?
No, it's Toad's gone.
Oh,
I think he got closed. He was I mean, don't want to get into all that, but I think he was like an anti-masker and like,
Yeah.
Things got a little nuts, I think.
Well, I was just suggesting to a friend, like, oh, you're in Aberdeen. You need to go to the Star Wars store just the other weekend. So
Yeah, because what else was there to do in Aberdeen?
drive through it.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain's from there,
Yeah.
and then you're done.
You go to his house.
There's a Taco Bell, there's a Walmart, and that's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, then you just keep driving. Depressing little area. Yeah, but man, Star Wars, like, they've been doing good with the games again, but there's not as many. But it used to seem like when we were kids, we had Star Wars games all the time. Because obviously Super Nintendo, we had the trilogy that was awesome. 64, we had Shadows of the Empire and Pod Racer, plus Rogue Squadron.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention that one.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron was
That
How
was
did-
great.
yeah.
I have it written down here, too. Didn't say it.
How did I forget that?
dude, that game is so huge too. Like there are so many levels and
I
so
feel
much
like I only played
replayability.
one level my entire childhood, which was when you're in like the Imperial like kind of tri-wing thing and you're just going through the valley.
Oh yeah,
I might have just
never
as
made
a
it.
child only been able to play.
I feel like as a kid,
Never
I would
beat
just replay every game. Didn't matter what game, the first 2 levels, and then I just play those 2 levels again.
Yeah, that's what you thought the whole game was.
Yeah.
Like in preparation for this, I watched like so many Star Wars game recaps, just like what it was, gameplay videos, and I'm like, I don't remember any of like that. I just remember the one level.
You play as Wedge in Squadron 2? I don't remember that.
What?
Dude, that game
I think you actually do.
was fun.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And what a stellar launch title for the GameCube too, and a game that still looks good surprisingly. The cool thing about, well, not about that game. So I have a lot of fond memories of Rebel Leader, which was the 3rd Rogue Squadron, but not because the game was any good, or Rebel Strike, which was the 3rd Rogue Squadron, but not because that game was good, but because it came with a packed-in version of Rebel Leader, the second one, that you could play 2-player. It was the only way you could play the game 2-player. And I remember one of the earlier times that me and Alex from previous guest Alex hung out. We played through that game on GameCube, and it was just like a ton of fun, but hard, like super hard. But yeah, Star Wars games are just like, I don't know, super solid. When I was thinking about some of my favorites, I already mentioned Super Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire, Pod Racer. Obviously, like you can't have a Star Wars conversation and not talk about Knights of the Old Republic. Did you guys both play that?
I've never played it.
You guys neither of you have played Knights of the Old Republic?
No, and
Oh,
I feel like
man.
we'll be shunned for it, but hey, we're here for each other.
Yeah.
Woo!
No, that's
What's the one that's on? What's the
Crazy.
one that's on Switch right now? Is that KOTOR or is that the other? There's multiple Republic
they've
games. aren't
re-released
there?
just about every
Oh,
like,
the
Star
Jedi
Wars game.
Academy games?
They
Same
put those
general era?
Yeah, they
That's a
put
good
those
one.
on Switch. They put both of the Knights of the Old Republic games, Republic Commando, Pod Racer, like just about any of the big games from like the mid to late '90s through the or mid 2000s has been re-released.
Wasn't it only on Xbox originally?
Knights of
KOTOR?
the, yeah, it was, and that's
I
the
didn't have
only
one.
reason I ended up having an Xbox.
I didn't have an Xbox.
Yeah.
PlayStation
Same.
only. That's my excuse.
Yeah, no, well, no,
Have
it's-
mercy.
My friend Nick had an Xbox, so I'd go over there and play it.
Yeah.
But then I think when I got my first job at GameStop, I think one of the first things I did was buy an Xbox and Knights of the Old Republic. And for years, it was the only Xbox game I had. That and the second one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game, I mean, honestly, I truly think that since you guys are both Star Wars fans, even though it probably doesn't, I can't sit here and say it holds up great battle system wise now because, it's 20 years old.
Yeah.
But story wise, like content wise, that game, I think you need to play it. Like,
I picked it up. I picked it up on Switch.
good.
I played it for.
As you should have. I realized when I said good how aggressive
Good.
that said. Good.
Good.
Yeah, I forget. I got to a point and then I either got stuck or I got confused or just frustrated and I stopped.
Really?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, well,
And
I
that's
tried.
probably the last I'll play it.
I tried, guys.
That's how
I
I
don't
go.
know.
I ain't going back, baby.
So did you even make it off Terrace? The first planet?
What's that?
Yeah. This is embarrassing.
Terrace.
I did.
Terrace, like
You
Earth.
did make it off Terrace? Yeah, wait, you hadn't played it yet. Man, I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. I forgot.
You know what? There's not enough Star Wars fishing.
Honestly?
Think about it. You
True.
ever
Yeah, there's not
you know what?
any Star Wars fishing.
probably like a Mandalorian, like Mon Calamari episode or something. They're probably fishing.
You want me to do an episode of the podcast?
No, I'm just
About
saying.
Mandalorian and Mon Cal?
Forget it.
Okay, we're gonna forget that. So and then for me, like a couple other big ones were Galactic Battlegrounds. Which did you guys ever play that? That's probably one that I would say the least amount of people that listen to this have played.
I don't think I've even heard of that one.
So it was done by the same team as Age of Empires. It was turn-based.
Oh,
or,
okay,
uh,
okay.
It's a Star
strategy
Wars Age
RPG.
of Empire.
Yeah, or not RPG. What are those called?
RTS.
Like RTF. There it is. Real-time strategy, just like StarCraft, Age of Empires, and that game was so much fun. My friend Nick used to live in California, and we would hop online and we'd play that. Me and his brother and him and a couple others sometimes, and it was just, oh man, I just remember one time when we were playing, we would chat with each other through the game, and like I tricked everybody to think I was on their side, and then had them all kill each other off, and then just went in and like took out the remainders and won the game. Oh, I was ruthless.
You're evil.
Well, they used to do that to me in StarCraft.
That's RTS.
So. Welcome to real-time strategy, baby. Oh man, yeah, they do that to me in StarCraft. So like, I got a little older and I got my revenge in Galactic Battlegrounds. But that game, and then like the Force Unleashed was like, I think the first Force Unleashed was kind of the end of really good Star Wars games. Because then after that, we didn't get anything for years other than Force Unleashed 2, which was not good.
It just became it was like a love story, right? Like I was confused between like the Star Killer and Star Killer's clone, and like
In the second one,
yeah,
dude, I'm sure I've said this on here before, and if not, I don't know, but that second game was such a letdown because I loved the first one.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a blast. Like, and I loved the dark and the light side.
yeah,
paths.
because you can kind of choose, and then based on your decisions, you became.
Yeah, and
Jedi or Sith.
and like the nods they did to the movies, the nods they did to even some of the books, everything was really well done. And then the second game came out, and you literally, I just remember Starkiller and whatever the master's name in that game is.
Coda.
Yeah, Coda. Them just yelling at each other, literally the whole game. The game is like,
see.
yeah, because he's blind, and like they're just yelling, and then like that's kind of annoying. The game's only like 3 hours long, so that was annoying, and like it was just not a great game. It was so disappointing. I did a whole midnight launch at the GameStop I was working at.
And you were done by 3. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I could have been done with the game before I left the midnight launch. It was terrible. I had the 501st there. We had food. It was a whole thing. Like I went above and beyond for this game, and it disappointed
The
me.
Legion came out.
Yeah, I had.
Wow.
I mean, somewhere I might have pictures.
Where are they at today?
I should ask. Yeah.
Just chill out in the corner.
So I did look at getting them, not since the podcast, but before, for something, like seeing if I could, because they come,
make appearances.
yeah, but they're like, yeah, I don't know how, they must have been a lot easier to get in 2011 or whenever that was compared to now, because it was like you have to enter a application, and then there's like a 6-month waiting period, and like you might have to pay, like there was all kinds of things. So things have changed, but so yeah, those are just some of the Star Wars games. I know, like you mentioned Battlefront. I don't know why I almost said Battlefield.
Battlefront 1 was something else. When I just think of the planet selection loading screen where it zooms in, it's like boop, 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 boop. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I think I saw like
nostalgia.
something on Instagram the other day that was that,
Yeah.
and it was like, I remember that.
I never played either of
felt
those
good.
games that much, but the second one seemed to have a lot of like popularity. Like people loved that game.
The second one was really good. The first one was really good. I have memories of playing on like a friend's PSP when we were coming back from like Steamboat Rock as a kid, of playing Battlefront 2 on there, and then like, you know, playing it on Xbox and other things like that, and it was just a good game.
Yeah.
I think the first one, there was only one mode, right? There was no like story or campaign. It was just like the capture the zone,
That sounds right.
or like get the other guys down to zero. How annoying when it's like down to like 1, you just can't find.
Oh my god, I remember that.
Where is the guy?
I actually popped in Battlefront 2 on my PSP recently because I found my PSP and I've been going nuts on that. But the game's actually still kind of fun. It doesn't control very well because you only have the one little mini
I do remember
analog
that, yeah.
stick. But yeah, I ran into that exact thing where it was like one enemy, and I'm like, and the fog of war in that game is terrible. Like you can only see like 5 feet in front of you.
Oh, funny.
So I'm like wandering around the whole map looking for this dude. Oh man.
But that's probably Battlefront was probably one of the first like all-out warfare games, right? You can just be any class. You can get into vehicles. You can just, as far as Star Wars goes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. I don't think unless there's something on PC I'm forgetting about, I don't think anything else did it first.
What a rush to like you are behind enemy lines, sneaking into a point, and you're trying to capture it, and like.
I mean, you think too, like that's still kind of a popular thing in some of these games, like Call of Duty and stuff. Like they still have a mode like that.
These
so
are just
obviously it worked.
rebranded Star Wars Battlefront ones.
Yeah, they stole the idea. Star Wars did it first. But yeah, those games were good. Did you guys play any other Star Wars games that I'm not thinking about?
I don't know. Like as time went on, I mean, like the other Battlefronts came out. Were we big Battlefront, EA Battlefront stands?
I never played them.
I bought
They came out to such bad reception
Yeah.
with things that I don't like that I was like, nah,
Yeah.
dude,
I'm not gonna spend $60.
I was just
on that.
bad at it, so I didn't like
I
it.
wasn't.
I didn't like the always online.
Yeah.
I don't like playing online.
Yeah.
So that was already a turn off. The pay to win stuff, turn off.
Yeah,
It's turned off, folks.
Yeah.
He is
can't turn it
not
back on.
turned on over here.
Nope.
Not at X Button Gaming. Yeah, I remember when the first Battlefront PS4 era, whatever, the EA Battlefront came out, and just being like so stoked for it because the first trailer they showed was gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
And stupid me, I was still at GameStop, so I was still obviously trying to sling reserves and do all that stuff. I bought so into that game, I was like,
no.
what?
30 minutes. Come and gone.
Oh,
Gosh.
well,
There's just going to be gaps in this video.
we'll do what we got. But yeah, I just remember being so excited for that game and then getting it day one and just being like pure disappointment.
Yeah.
Just like, because it just, there wasn't enough there. It still looked good. It was still fun to like mess around on, but it was like, you play it for a few minutes and you've done the game if you're not going to play online. And I was too crappy to play it online. Did you play the second one though?
I did. Like I said, I start every game and then lose interest or something comes up and then I just forget about it and I'm not a completionist like you, Chris. I'm a startist.
Hey, you know what? That's something too.
I'm an incompletionist.
So you never finished the story?
I watched it.
Did you? At least you watched it.
That's the other thing I'll do a lot of times is like if I don't play it myself, I find just as much enjoyment as watching gameplay or watching playthroughs or cutscenes. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
I mean, personally, I'll play it, but if somebody doesn't want to play it,
yeah, this is X Button Gaming third clip. Here we go.
heyo, there
That's
it is.
how you do it, folks. For all you behind the scene wonders.
So should I cut right there and edit that out? Or
No,
do we want
we're
it
leaving
in?
this in.
Leave it in.
That's live. This is live, folks. Except
Look,
for I could edit it. But
These
I'm
are
not
all
going to.
these are all growing.
Let them
pains.
know about the growing pains.
Yeah, we're learning. So
And this is going to happen again if we don't wrap it up in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
One day you are going to be hearing about how big X Button Gaming Podcast is, and you can say you were here for this first one.
the first one?
when we learned everything and we got it.
I'm
all
gonna want
here.
a fat check.
Oh, if I have a fat check,
forgot to tell you.
You're gonna give a fat check. Oh, I'm paying for this.
Yeah.
And this episode is not airing now.
Oh yeah, we should have
Deuces
worked out
out.
some sort of promo to get paid ads.
Paid ads. Kaisa Cloud Co. What is it?
Yeah, this is a free shout out right now. I didn't bring any product.
Oh,
Clouds Candle Co.
I'm sure Alex has some in the other room.
Do you want to play video games and not smell like dank video game butt?
so we as nerds, we sometimes get a little stinky because we play so long.
Exactly.
Well, not with a candle from Clouds Candle Co.
Exactly.
They smell like heaven.
Use code X Button Gaming for an undisclosed amount off because I have to talk to my wife about that.
Yeah, this is so fresh that you don't even know what percentage. This will be a mystery.
It could be 1%. It could be 100%.
You might get a free candle.
It might not even work.
Yeah, this
Could
might
be
not go
200%.
anywhere.
You could get Yeah, we could pay you.
Yeah, get that gamer stink out of your room. And what are some of the scents from Cloud Candle Co?
Oh, there's the. You know what?
Tell them about the Star Wars themed line.
Yeah, so we have Dagobah Swamp Butt.
Oh man,
I don't know why I keep going to
why
butt swamp.
would we want that?
It's a novelty. It's like a gag. It's a gag item.
Oh, okay.
We
Oh,
also
I'm
have-
gagging.
We also have Hoth and Sweaty. They're all gross.
Yeah, nobody wants Cloud Candle
But,
Co.
but people will buy like smelly candles as a joke, as a gag.
Yeah.
Rancor Pit.
Anyways, but it would be Cloud City Candle Co.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Best Bin baby.
That's been. Do you have a favorite scent that she does though?
Whatever one is making us the most money.
So there you
honestly,
have it, folks.
strawberries and cream, folks. Strawberries
and
and cream,
cream.
get in there.
Strawberries and cream. Strawberries and cream. Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I might have to smell that. Put that smell in my game room.
She might have one. Alex might have one in the house.
I'm
I'll
sure
have to-
she
I'll
does.
have
I
to
don't think she has
sniff around.
strawberries and cream, but she has a ton of them.
Strawberries and cream.
Strawberries.
Oh man. Well, that got
Thanks-
sidetracked.
all right,
But I'm
thanks for
leaving
the
this
plug.
in here. You get a full plug. Thank
Thanks
you,
for the
Kaisa,
plug.
for making candles.
Now we can write this whole thing. You can write this whole thing up.
I can write it off. Whatever we value our time at, just
Well, your equipment's supposed to make as much as you.
perfect.
Well, I don't know what that means, but let's go.
For everybody out there,
This is turning
that's
into like a
interested,
business education.
You're supposed to charge as much to use the equipment as your labor
Oh, so
costs.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, how else do you make a profit if you don't?
Right. So if you're making X amount of dollars an hour, your camera should also cost X amount of dollars to use. So for you to show up with one camera, it should cost X times 2
There we go.
per hour.
There we go. See, there
We
you have
got
it.
3 cameras, a light, 2 monitors.
Just wait till we invoice him.
Oh, baby.
And Chris has left the country. Oh man.
Gotta go.
Well, now you guys have learned a little bit about a wonderful candle you can get. You've learned about how you can make money starting your own business, and now you'll learn more about Star Wars as we get back onto the Star Wars track.
My 3 favorite things.
Yeah, those are the 3 things I love most.
Candles, business, and Star Wars.
That's all I need.
Oh man, it's a complete dose of daily life. So just to finish up the Battlefront 2 thought, I have no problems with people watching the videos to get the content if they don't want to play or aren't able to finish.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, so I watched the DLC content on the way here. Or this morning I watched it.
You had a busy drive.
Dude, I drove 4 hours
far.
Last
today,
Jedi.
and I still got to drive home.
You watched.
Just watching it
Dude,
all.
I wanted to come prepared. What's her
No
name
depth
again?
perception. One eye on the road. One eye on the phone.
What's the protagonist's name? Iden
Verso.
Iden Verso.
Versio or Verso?
Verso, yeah.
I-
See, I watched the DLC. Did you watch the DLC or did you play it?
I played it, yeah. I really liked the story. I thought it was actually surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I think that it's a shame that more people didn't play the story in Battlefront 2 because of how all of the negative feedback the game got. I wouldn't have played it because I had no desire to play the game, and I was so turned off, just like Avery. I was so turned off by the first one that I just but it ended up being on sale for like $2 on digitally. So I was like, okay, I'll play it for $2, and really, yeah. Once again, just really liked the story.
Did she start the trend of like protagonist and like also buddy droid that sits on your person?
I don't know if anybody did it before. I mean, obviously the buddy droid's been a thing forever, but the
Yeah,
actual
but,
like
like-
mounted onto your
Yeah, like
person.
Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, because no, she did it, and then obviously Cal Kestis does it, but yeah, I can't think of somebody doing it before.
Yeah.
So
Trendsetter.
yeah,
I think we need another character design where you're like giving it a piggyback ride or like
But it's not a little.
but it's also
droid.
big. Yeah, it's a full grown person.
that took a turn. Yeah, so I guess on that note, we've kind of talked about not all the Star Wars games, but most of the ones that are important to us, and then that leads into kind of where we're at now. The last 2 Star Wars games that have come out have been Fallen Order, and which I guess is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and this is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Which I guess I'll let you guys talk. Like when Fallen Order came out, did you guys buy it like right away? Did you wait to play it?
I bought it. So I bought an Xbox One X so I could get the 4K Blu-ray player, and it was a pack-in game with it.
Oh.
And I played it, and then I was like, just wasn't feeling it. I got to the end of Kashyyyk, the first time you go to Kashyyyk, and I was like, I've had enough. And then when I got a Steam Deck, it was on sale for something crazy, like $5 or $6. I was like, why not? And this was a couple months ago, and I played it again, and yeah, it
Got
was-
to Kashyyyk and then
yeah, you know the story.
Round
No,
two.
I finished it, and it was good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what about you, Jalen?
So I didn't get it right away. I actually got it secondhand from Kieran and Darren. Shout out.
Shout out to the boys.
Yeah, and I think it was one of the first games I played like skill tree based, probably. Maybe was Infamous skill tree based? You definitely learned abilities
think
and
so.
got like very
Man, it's been so long now. I think so, though.
yeah. So I thought that was a very cool aspect of the game, getting to choose which way you level up. I thought the story was pretty captivating. It was a hard game. I'm not like a really good like timing, parrying, like I'm putting that sucker on story mode if I have to. Like all the difficulty is down and my parrying is all the way up. I've had to do that a couple times, but yeah, playing through, I got stuck on Dathomir for a while.
Dathomir, it's also kind of the most confusing like
It's
layout.
confusing, and I was
Yeah.
just scared the whole time.
Spooky.
The Night Sisters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got stuck on what's his name, Talon or Terran Malicos.
Terran
Malicos.
Yep.
I was stuck on that battle forever.
Yeah, it was a tough battle.
I'd get in, try to beat him, not do it, and then eventually I'm just like, I'm putting back on story mode.
At least when you died, you got dropped like
Right there.
Right there. You
Yeah.
didn't have to walk all the way back to
Oh, I
him.
hate when
really
they do
appreciate
big
that.
battles.
It's the stupidest thing to have to losing any gameplay or content or having to retrack a bunch of steps in a game is just old. Like
It's not challenging. It's just a waste of time.
yeah, like
I already got here.
no, and that's a Super Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
You die in a Super Nintendo game, you go back to the checkpoint or the beginning of the level. I mean, that was 30 years ago. Like we're past that. Like frankly, people don't have as much time as they used to. Nobody wants to replay the whole level just because they died.
On a hard game.
Yeah, dude, and that's like the game is constantly compared to like Dark Souls and stuff for its combat because apparently like I've never played Dark Souls. I did play Elden Ring, but the games are very like focused on parrying and blocking and everything's timing based. And I never played any of those games before, so it was very eye opening at first, like just the pure difficulty of it. But it is one of the more rewarding gameplay systems when you can figure it out and like when you can make those dodges just right and then parry back with a nice like lightsaber attack or throw it and just like totally decimate somebody like
Yeah.
I mean that sounds kind of sick, but it's a pretty good feeling.
Well, you're able to do so much. Like there's so many different combos. I forget all the things you're able to do like in the moment, where I just end up just mashing square and triangle anyways.
Yeah, I mean sometimes I do that because some of those battles are so frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean even on Survivor I've run into that a couple times.
Yeah. That's one problem. I know we're not quite there yet. I've had with Survivor is that sometimes it feels like you just can't use the force powers because there isn't a window a lot of the time, and you just end up getting bodied for trying. So it's like, well, I guess I'll just parry and hit square because like the attacks come too frequently, and there's not actually a window because the charge up to use it is so long. It's one thing that I wish was different about it because I like using the force powers. They're fun.
Yeah.
But if I feel like I'm going to get punished for even trying to do it, I'm like,
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, there's no denying if you're playing a Star Wars game as a Jedi, you want to use the Force powers. Obviously, lightsabers are nice, but like I remember back on Super Empire Strikes Back on the Super Nintendo, you got the Force in that, and it was cool because you had it, but it was still just you push A, you do a little Force blast, like nothing fancy. But then when the Jedi Knight and the Dark Forces and Jedi Knight came out, like those games were like I didn't have them, but I remember watching people play them, and it was mind blowing because you got to use the Force in these games. You actually would learn different Force moves, Force jump, Force push. You could do mind manipulate, confusion. There we go, and all kinds of other stuff. So like that's why that game was so successful. That and a good story. But that's what we want in these games. So it does kind of suck when it almost feels like they're taking it away from us a little bit.
yeah, it just to follow the idea of just to make it hard. And it's like, but I want to use the stuff.
I die a lot because I try to do something with the Force. Like I'll try to do like R2 to push him away, and like it's just slow enough, or I'm out of Force power already.
Yeah.
Or
For me,
confusion
it
doesn't work.
It's not the like pushing, pulling, push blast and things like that. It's usually the lightsaber.
The Force lightsaber attacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those
Oh, yeah.
ones
I
are
never
the
get
ones
them
that,
off.
because like I said, it's the charge up is just too long, and the window between attacks is never that long.
Yeah,
So I wish that was different.
I get that. Maybe they'll fix it. Probably not. It's probably not a fix. They probably feel like it's right. But I agree with what you're saying, though.
I liked in Fallen Order all the flashbacks, because he has that Force ability that, what's it called?
It's not telekinesis, but it's tele something where he
Yeah.
can.
I know what you're
Like he
talking
touches
about.
the thing and it sends him back, and I liked all the training stuff back with
Yep,
Jaro.
loved it.
I like that.
And
And I
like
like
that,
finding all of the like echoes and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Finding the force echoes, all the different, texts inputs that you get. Like, I know you guys talk about Metroid a lot. Like you find something and it goes into your database and you can read all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I should have mentioned that we are going to be talking spoilers for Fallen Order, but none for Survivor.
Yeah.
But no, I totally agree. And like one of my favorite things on Fallen Order was when you're exploring whatever planet you're on, but you end up finding the Fallen Republic ship from during the Clone Wars, and going through it is like a really cool experience because there's all of those different moments where you get to, I mean, it's sombering too, but you get to basically watch what this ship went through as it fell. And he has more memories and flashbacks about his master and stuff. But they did such a good job with that. And I think it's also very telling about how powerful Order 66 was, because of how much it still like impacts everything in Star Wars. I mean, you see it in The Mandalorian, you see it in Bad
everything
Batch.
in
Like,
that timeline is happening right now.
yeah, and there's a reason, because it's still probably some of the most compelling Star Wars. Like, obviously it's depressing, but seeing how people made it, different Jedi or clones or whoever else made it out of that, is very compelling. And like, I think that's part of what really drew me into Fallen Order 2, is touching on that time frame, because for years we always wondered what happened during that, but we were left to just believe Obi-Wan and Yoda lived, and that was just it.
Yeah.
But it makes sense others would have lived. They weren't all, possibly surrounded by clones at the wrong time.
Yeah. Galaxy's it's a big place.
So
Yeah. Good game.
yeah, I know. I want another thing just about Fallen Order that I really like too is on that first planet that you go to. I remember stumbling across a little cave with a mini boss and being completely underleveled for it.
Yeah.
And it just destroying me at first. But me, and being the stubborn person I am, I'm like,
I have
Gotta
to do
get
it right
it.
now.
I feel like I can beat this. So
3 days later.
yeah, I don't remember how long it took me, but I remember sitting there trying it over and over and over and over, and eventually getting it. And that's what I do like about the game, is I'm sure somebody better than me probably could have got it a lot sooner. But there is if you can get it down, you can do what almost feels like the impossible in this game sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, later on you get all the force abilities and your power is so much stronger. It's not as hard to take on battles. But I love in a game when you can go somewhere you're not supposed to be, but it's not so lopsided that you can't do it ever. You can't do it. You have to come back. Like, I like that option of being able to push myself until I actually get it.
When it's skill based instead of level based like that.
Yeah.
It's not the level 80 gorilla on Tora in Xenoblade 2.
Oh god. Yeah. You have to come back at the end of the game to fight.
That like you can aggro at like level 3.
So
There's just
broken.
nothing you can
Yeah.
do.
Did you guys like the parkour in this game?
In Survivor?
Yeah. No. In Fallen Order.
It's okay in Fallen Order. It's much, much better in Survivor.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
agree.
I don't remember, which tells me that it was I
A
wasn't
lot of wall
impressed, but-
runs. Lot of wall.
Yeah, and they're longer in Survivor. You can stay on the wall longer, so it makes for more interesting.
Yeah. Just use the force to just kind of.
Yeah,
Clean
I like
yourself
that.
up.
You
and
just
the
keep
like double
jumping
jump
up
to
it.
stay on it. Yeah, I like that.
It's
Yeah. We'll get there.
It's a much improved mechanic. I'm trying to think. Like, as far as Fallen Order goes, like, I really liked the characters.
Like Seer. Seer's a cool character.
She's cool, and Grease.
Grease.
There it is. Yeah.
I love Grease.
Also, did you guys ever have enough plants in the Mantis? I could never get enough plants to fill up that stupid terrarium.
I think
I did.
I have like
I
two
think
plants.
there was a trophy for it, and I got the platinum.
Oh,
so-
I'm sure you did. I had more plants that could fit in the terrarium.
I think there was a trophy. Say no more.
I had pots around the Mantis.
I didn't even know what to do with all the plants. I was like, maybe I should give some to Jalen. I don't know.
I wish.
Yeah, I know I found them. I must have found them all, because I'm almost positive there was a trophy for doing all the little things in that game.
There definitely was.
Oh, you know what? You know what the real MVP of this game was? Ponchos.
Dude, ponchos. Did you see the clip from Celebration?
Yeah. He was like,
Yeah.
I'm out. There's no ponchos.
Yeah, and then he gave his poncho to a fan. That was it was pretty awesome. Somebody that was just down there watching, they're all like, touch me. And he just he takes the poncho off and just hands it to one of them. I don't know how he decided or why.
I'll do
but
you one better. I'll give you my poncho.
here you go. You can touch me all the time through my poncho. Oh man, I haven't found a poncho yet in Survivor though.
That might not be in there. Maybe it's a DLC.
Oh, let's go. Got to pay for the poncho.
People would buy it.
Yeah, no, they would.
Absolutely.
I don't buy cosmetic DLC.
What, you got something to say?
I'm trying to remember if I found a poncho or not, but I'm like, I
Don't
can't
tell me.
remember.
Don't tell me.
But this is a heavy Survivor spoiler, so turn away now. But there is a mullet in Survivor.
Oh, I'm gonna talk
Yeah.
about it. I've got notes.
And, so I guess like as far as Fallen Order goes, do you guys have any other thoughts or things you want to mention on it?
I think that my personal opinion is that Fallen Order's pretty okay, and then we're gonna get into Survivor, but it's they took a pretty okay game and made it really great.
Okay, I would. So far I'm not nearly as far as you, but I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Jalen, what about you?
I'm just happy they gave us some BA Darth Vader at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like
Dude.
tearing crap apart, just killing his own dudes for the sake of.
Dude, I
Felt like running away from Bowser at the end of Mario.
almost
Exactly.
almost as
Exact
powerful as
same
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rewatched that today because I was like, I beat the game pre-COVID because now it's BCE. We're now pre-COVID and post-COVID. I I don't know if it's a thing. If it isn't, I'm minting it. But I beat it. So that's been 4 years at the minimum, or I guess 3 years at the minimum. Anyway, feels like forever. And I couldn't remember much of it, but I remembered the Vader part. So I pulled that up today on YouTube, and I was like, "Wow, that was good." I forgot how good that was.
That was good.
So I think at the end of it, like Fallen Order was just a good Star Wars game, and that's what I had been missing. Like, I am the king of overlooking flaws in things if I just am having fun. And movies, TV, music doesn't matter. If it's just fun, I can look past all of the negative. And I'm sure it's been long enough now where I don't really remember much of the negative. But I think that at the time I was just like, oh wow, we actually got a good story-based Star Wars game. I just didn't expect EA to do it. I guess I had no faith.
I mean, I just played it a couple months ago. I don't think there was much negative about it. It just, there wasn't like something to take it to that next level yet. But we're getting there.
Yep. No, so yeah, I think Fallen Order is definitely worth playing. I think if you have any interest in playing Survivor and haven't played Fallen Order, you should play Fallen Order first.
Yes.
I mean,
I think you kind of have to.
yeah. The story, I mean, they do a little story recap at the beginning of Survivor, but it's not enough. You
I
need
think
to
there's
really
even some
experience
gameplay stuff going into it that they're assuming that you've already played the other one.
Yeah.
That they're not necessarily telling you that they would have outright told you in Fallen Order. Do this here kind of thing.
I agree.
Were you guys really invested in the whole? What was his name? Eno? I know the Jedi guy who you're following through all the
Cordova.
Cordova. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's telling you, oh, you got to go here, you got to go here to find the holocron, right? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. I remember the holocron part, but I don't remember much about him, so I must not have been that invested.
I was going to say that answers your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you just kind of forget about it. Like, why am I following this guy? Who is he? Why is he telling me what to do?
I
Yeah.
did have a couple of those moments of like, okay,
Why am
I
I-
don't care. Just mash through it,
Aliens?
you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too because
Zepho?
especially with Star Wars, I usually love that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
so that must have been really unimpressed because I think they've mentioned him once at this point in the game I'm in because I feel like I heard the name recently. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a certain area, but and I remember even thinking like, who was that? So I don't like.
Was he like a important character?
Dude, yeah, I totally don't remember. So I must have been really unimpressed. Yeah,
All right, I'll just go wherever you tell me to go.
whatever you say,
Yeah.
man. I just want to
Here now? Okay.
Okay, so we'll go there.
And we're out going. So yeah, so Fallen Order, good game. But Survivor, so far, I know me and Jalen aren't as far as Avery is, so it'll be kind of nice to have a little little extra perspective further into the game. But all I know is starting off, I mean, this is just early game spoilers, I guess, but they're not really spoilers. You start off in Coruscant, and like I was almost immediately like engrossed in what was happening, and like that doesn't happen a lot in games. Like usually I have to get a little bit in to be into it, even if it's something I like or a sequel to something I like.
They did a good job, like pretty heavy cinematic right off the bat. Mm-hmm. But then you're also pretty quickly like into, they just kind of slip you into the gameplay, into the moment.
Yep. I just found myself very invested in actually caring about these new characters that they brought in. Not as much, I mean, obviously not a ton because they're new, but I'm still kind of caring because of how invested Cal was already. And at this point, we're invested in Cal, even though it's been a few years.
Right. We can cut this out if it's a spoiler.
Yeah. Spoilers.
The Was the Ninth Sister at the end of Coruscant?
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's fine. I was a little surprised that we got hit with a somehow the Ninth Sister has returned moment, because it was like you chopped her arm off and pushed her off like a hundreds of foot tall tree, and now she's just his back.
Here's the rule: anytime you just push somebody off of something, they're alive.
If you don't see the body,
If you don't see,
Their hatred can keep them alive.
yeah,
Darth Maul has taught us anything.
yeah, exactly. Case in
Really
point.
ticked. It
that
can
was
keep you alive.
that was like my nitpick for Coruscant. But I mean, like, if that's the worst of it, you know what I mean? It was pretty good. A lot of, and we've kind of alluded to it, like, and even to speak to a point from that we kind of talked about on the sports episode last year when we were talking about Horizon Zero Dawn and how it, like, I was playing Forbidden West and it felt like nothing had changed. But recently I went back and I was playing Zero Dawn again, and I realized, no, it is a lot different, but the changes are, they're natural, but they're small, where the difference between Fallen Order and Survivor seems to be natural but large changes. They're very noticeable, even if you haven't played the game recently. I only noticed the changes between Zero Dawn and Forbidden West after going back and being like, this is a mechanic in Forbidden West. Of course it's in this, because I remember them being the same. And then realizing that, no, it's not. It just was this tiny little tweak. But those changes are natural and big and noticeable going from Fallen Order to Survivor, and I really appreciated that. And I feel like it was probably even more appreciated by people that didn't play Fallen Order as recently as I have.
I mean, I guess I don't know exactly what changes you're talking about, but in general, like, I do feel like this has been a very fluid experience. Like, everything feels pretty natural. And for having been at least 3 years since I played the last one, like, that's saying something. Because, like you said, they don't do a lot of, like, push this to do that, push this to do that. They just do it with some of the bigger powers you relearn.
Right.
And it wasn't that hard to relearn the parrying, and and dodging and all of my attacks and stuff. It feels pretty natural.
Yeah, because you start this game with pretty much all the skills you learn.
The fact that there's no, like, skill amnesia is great.
You are already pretty OP when you start, because you have everything that you ended Fallen Order with.
Yep.
You didn't forget everything after 5 years. You got stronger.
Alex actually asked me that same question the other day, because he hasn't had a chance to start playing it yet. And he was like, do they have the whole, like, I have to relearn everything? And I was like, actually, no, it's pretty nice, because the little bit of relearning you do is natural, because it's like you get to a point and you're like, you need to use this ability, and it just like, now you use this because you have it.
Cal's not relearning it. You are learning how to use it.
Yep, exactly. And it feels very natural.
The changes, I mean, I took some notes. The changes I was talking about is there's just more skills and perks. Like, there's perks. There wasn't perks before.
Perks are cool.
So ways to build your character. There's more customization of Cal, like both skill wise and cosmetic wise. You end up building the town that Grease is in a little more. I know that's a little further than we want to talk about, but it's important.
No, I was going to bring that up because I'm a big fan of that whole town building aspect in games.
Yeah.
And like, I really like that they brought that. It makes it feel more alive.
Yeah.
I think.
And the worlds feel so much bigger and more worthy of exploration. So instead of like, oh, if I go shortly off this path, I'll find something. Like, now there's a whole extra wing over here. Like, there's side quests that are called rumors. Just a lot of stuff like that. And they're big, very natural changes that belong in the game.
Well, were there even side quests in the last one?
No.
Because I don't remember any. Yeah. And like, when I ran into the first one about the prospectors, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I was like, I don't remember that.
And then you just get bodied when you...
Oh, God. Yeah, and this is... I'm just going to say it. This is a little spoilery, but you're going to fight a Rancor on that first planet.
Oh.
Just come back to it.
Dude, I did it. I
did it too, but it was not worth how mad I got.
Even Jasmine was sitting there watching me play it. She was like, why don't you just leave? And I'm like, no. I must beat it. Yeah, I got pretty ticked. But I beat it. But... yeah, just a little spoiler. I'm sorry, Jalen. I'm sorry, everybody else who didn't have a chance to.
I've put in the least amount of hours. I admit it.
Yeah,
but now I'm getting excited to go home and play.
Yeah. Quit calling. You're sick tomorrow, right?
You look horrible, man.
Yeah. I think you got the black lung.
I'm gonna play video games.
And the puzzles are better in this game too. They actually feel like puzzles like in Fallen Order, they kind of just felt like tasks.
Yeah.
You actually have to figure out what you're doing. The platforming is so much better in this game. So much better. And it just gets better the further you get in the game too.
Yeah. The wall running, like you mentioned, like something about being able to kind of continuously wall run by doing your force jumps and stuff is a very fulfilling thing. And just to touch on the exploration a little bit, you might not, you haven't really had a chance to explore yet much, Jalen, but the exploring in this game is something else. Like, I want to say I'm probably somewhere around 8 to 10 hours in. And I haven't left the first planet yet because I'm constantly getting sidetracked and going down these routes of exploration. And like, I'm completely invested in each different route. Some of them are short and easy. Some of them are short and really difficult. And some are super long. But
And the environments look so good.
yeah, it's a very
Yeah,
pretty,
it's a pretty game.
It is a little, I mean, you're playing it on PS5. You
Yeah.
both are. I am too. And there is a little bit, like, I am not one that complains about visuals, but there's quite a bit of like, what would I call it? Like jaggedness, or like where like as I'm running,
Like a
sometimes
frame
it
rate
goes like
drop or something?
yeah. And I have it on performance.
Ooh,
Um,
that's interesting. Yeah, and actually that's something I kind of wanted to talk about too, because I would have preferred, even though my PS5 is more powerful than my PC and my Steam Deck, I would have preferred to have bought it on PC so that I could play it on my Steam Deck. But as I'm sure most people listening are aware, the PC version is apparently just does barely work. It's
Yeah.
horrible on people with super high end PCs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you have a 40 series card and you're struggling, my 1070 is gonna die. So I was like, no, and if that's the case, I definitely can't play it on Steam Deck,
yeah,
right?
Right. Steam Deck's just gonna cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to do PC. I have an RTX 3070, but with the second, I saw the article right before it came out, and that's what swayed my decision to go
Yeah.
PS5.
And that's when I asked you what you
Yeah,
did.
like what'd you do?
So, and that's a bummer because it's just more of the like push it out now, fix it later thing that is so common now.
Yeah.
And I just wish wasn't. If it's not ready, just it. And clearly, all of the platforms struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't quite ready. Now
Yeah.
the game is great. Everything Respawn did is great. EA could have said we're gonna wait a little bit.
I think one thing I was surprised by is like I said, like these things don't bother me. I don't usually notice much, but I have noticed it in this, which says that it's obviously kind of janky a little bit. But it made me think about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and how there was just riots, like people were going nuts, and that game didn't really bother me. Maybe partially because I have a much lower standard for what I play on my Switch than I do on my PlayStation, but I just was like, man, I think people just really hate Pokemon sometimes.
Well, also like in Pokemon, you're not like real time trying to like defeat enemies with
Yeah.
Yeah, so
attacking
it
moves.
should
Like,
be
that's
worse
that's
for
fine.
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, if it's happening in a what am I even saying? Like a battle game,
Yeah, an action game.
an action game. There
Yeah,
you go.
battle game.
Battle action. Then that's going to be a little more frustrating.
I feel like the bottom line with that point is that like it's not crazy to expect a game that you paid for to work on the platform that they're selling it on.
Yeah, and we're paying more now.
Amen.
$70 now. So it's not like they've gotten cheaper and they're just rushing them out. It's,
Yeah, this was a $70 game.
Actually, there's already a $10 sale on Amazon, physical copy.
well, there you go.
What?
Save
why-
your $10. Rip. No, but I mean, at least for me, like you kind of said about it, like affecting like battles and stuff. I haven't run into it much in battles. It tends to just be like when I'm exploring and like running around, like I'll notice it and be like, I guess why it bugs me is it almost like throws my eyes off a little bit because it'll just be kind of like almost like a violent like shake.
Yeah.
But I did switch the game to graphics or whatever the other mode is called just shortly, just to see it.
Did it
I was
fix it?
like, no, it made it worse. But
It's not even real. It's a
was just-
placebo.
yeah, the graphics mode though, it sure is pretty. Like,
Yeah.
the game's already pretty, but like there's one part where I was just kind of standing over an edge and you can kind of see out. I was like, I wonder what it looks like with the better graphics. So I noticed some of the things were blurry, and I was like, wow, it really does polish everything up.
It
But
does.
yeah, I moved a little bit. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty janky. So
And one of the reasons I also, because of the style of game, wanted to buy it on PC is because you'll just have less input lag playing on a monitor or playing on Steam Deck. And yes, I know I can just plug my PS5 into the monitor, but it's out in the living room, and I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to.
that's why you
Just
have
move your
both.
office into the living room.
Yeah, I should just do that.
It's easy.
And like I felt that input like latency a couple times on the tough ones, especially like the Rancor and stuff like that. And it's like, I wouldn't have to feel like this if I could have bought it on the platform that I wanted it on, and it had just worked on the platform that I wanted it on.
Yeah.
And I'm
ask
like
for a
you.
refund.
Yeah, I
When
should.
it comes up, be like, dear, to whom it may concern.
I would like a refund.
I'm normally like you, where I'm just like, whatever. But this time I feel like it actually got to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you
it's
can't really
because of
have-
what you couldn't have.
Yeah.
You can't really have input lag in a battle game.
Yeah.
Right.
In a battle game, exactly. Exactly, Grandpa.
Because then you're definitely not going to get those darn force ability lightsaber.
You're
attacks
definitely
off.
not getting them off.
So-
No.
Man, yeah, it is too bad. I kind of hope they patch it. It sounds like they did release a patch for the PC version. I don't know how much it's fixed. Hopefully enough that it's at least playable.
Yeah.
Because I know I have a couple of friends that want to play it and are just completely holding off because PC is their main console. So
Do you play with the keyboard and mouse, or do you put like a dual sense, or do you do a third party controller to it?
I have an Xbox controller over there for it.
Xbox, yeah. Because I thought about, because you can do PS5 to Steam, right?
you can.
What do you mean?
PS5 controller.
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah,
your
yeah.
PC.
You can.
And does it still have like dual sense and like haptic feedback and everything?
I don't know enough
I
to
don't-
know
I
that
would
because I've
think
never
not.
tried it. They'd
I
have to
think not.
program it into the Steam version
Yeah.
for it to work.
Yeah, because then I thought like, man, that's kind of a large part of the experience, especially with what's the controller, that system called where there's resistance on like the R2 L2 triggers and
The
stuff like
haptic
that.
Oh,
feedback?
yeah, yeah.
No, but like you can't push it. There's certain
It's resistive
Oh,
triggers
yeah.
or something. I don't know what
Yeah.
the like
the
marketing
Sony
term
brand.
is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it like the resistive triggers.
Yeah, like that's a cool thing. Like, oh, like I'm out of force, I can't actually press that button. I don't know if it actually does that, but it should.
Yeah. No, I agree. I love the triggers in a lot of games. When they do it right, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Just briefly, Astrobot, the Astro's Playroom, whatever that game was called, the demo, the packing game, was such a great like example of how cool the controller is.
Yeah. What does it do?
I mean, like when it's raining, first off, just for the rumble, like when it's raining, you feel each individual droplet in the game.
That's a
but
lot
then
of
well, it's not pouring, but and then like when you're climbing and you use the triggers, like the way the haptic feedback works is like when you grip, you can like feel like the crunch of the thing that you're grabbing onto.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool features like that. Like, it was really impressive. Not many games have used it that well. Spider-Man did cool with the swipping of the web.
Forbidden West
Whipping.
had
Forbidden West is a good with the arrow pole.
yeah.
I haven't played Forbidden West yet.
should.
I need to play it.
I know.
It is good. I don't mean to make it sound super mediocre or anything. It's really good.
That's all.
Yeah, that's
That's
it.
it.
And we're done,
End of
folks.
sentence. Bye, guys.
No, but yeah, overall, like I'm really enjoying Survivor. I read somewhere that there is some level of like, I guess this might be spoilery, but a board game or like a game inside the game. Is
Ooh,
that
another one of these. What's the game that you play on the
How
Millennium
much
Falcon?
do you want to let me
Don't-
talk
don't-
about
don't-
that?
if there is, just say there. That's all.
And obviously there is.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like
It's
I'm-
that.
I love that kind of.
Oh,
crap.
what is
Like,
that game called?
I don't. It's
Monster-
Hollow something.
Hollow Chess.
Hollow Chess?
Yeah.
Oh.
They have it because
Rancor,
with
it's always a Rancor versus something.
with Grease's bar, you can invite people to come
Yeah.
populate the bar basically.
Cool. I'm excited to get to this point.
Dude,
yeah.
I haven't done. I've only gotten to the part where I can, and I found one person so far that can, and that just happens to be on the planet. But like once I found out that was a thing, I was like, this is awesome. Like I'm even more in than I was before.
Yeah, it's cool. I wish there was like an actual day-night cycle. This is not a spoiler, but later in the game you come back and it is night. But I wish there was like an actual
Yeah,
Day-night
as you play
cycle.
it actually cycles through.
Yeah.
It would be cool just for like the look of it because it's
Yeah.
kind of fun to see the differences.
You know, one thing I appreciate is when you have an ally that you're fighting next to, they actually do damage.
yeah.
Yeah,
feel
being
like
able
so
to
many
call them
times
and stuff.
They're just
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yeah, that's I always like that when you can.
Except for the
actually-
time when I'm like, there's one guy left, and I watch him like take him out. I'm like, I wouldn't do that.
So then you see if you can kill him, and you can. Your teammate.
This
Yeah.
is no Phantom Menace.
You can strike down your own teammate, even the child one.
What? Really? This is awesome. Next thing I know, Avery's like, you cannot come around my child.
Yeah, that was the last time Chris was invited over.
Yeah.
Oh man, but any other thoughts on Survivor?
I just think it's just more. It's like Avery was saying, it's the same game. It's naturally progressed, and it's just more. You have way more abilities. I think that's one thing. I mentioned it before, but even more so now is like I'm paralyzed sometimes by the amount of different ways you can attack that I forget how to what to even do.
Oh yeah,
The
Well,
like greatly
oh,
expanded skill tree.
The skill tree.
You're
is-
like, what
the
do I
skill
pick?
tree is like what, like double in size?
Yeah, because you have 5 for the different lightsaber styles.
That's what I was about to say.
Oh,
Were there
yeah,
styles in the
there's-
first one?
No, there's only
No.
there's
I
only
didn't
single
think so.
there's only single blade and double blade.
Yeah, which you could like switch back and forth between, but like it's not like you could. There's stances in this game.
I'm
It's not-
sure Avery knows all the stances
It's
by
true.
now.
I
I've
do.
only seen it
I've already
so
picked the 2 I
far.
like. Yeah, because there's the 5 of those. There's 3 trees for the force. There's 1 for your like health. Like
Yeah, Survivor or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
I like the forms. I only have a few myself, but like I actually have played around with them all and like found the ones that I like most out of the 3 I have.
There's 2 more, and you might even like those more.
I'm excited, and I love customizing my lightsaber color too, and the
I like
whole
that
hilt
too.
now. Like,
Yeah.
Talk about the mullet.
Oh, there it is. Can't forget that.
You
So
can
Cal
customize so much.
Kestis
Yeah.
is a cowboy name, right?
I guess.
Yeah, Cal Kestis.
I wouldn't
So-
say it like that. 100% is.
I've
Tink.
like my whole customization for him, like his clothes, his hair, and everything is like, how can I make him into the most space cowboy looking Jedi of all time?
He has Daisy Dukes on.
I think I've got it because he's got the mullet. I got the handlebar mustache.
Oh, man.
Do they have the Viper or what are those called?
Pit Vipers. I wish.
Oh, man.
Can I do a face scan into the game?
Yeah, that'd be so sick, dude.
No, it's cool. I like the collectibles too. That each world kind of has different ones, and you can buy things at the shop for that specific collectible. So like one of them's like a perk shop. One of them's like lightsaber stuff. One of them is other cosmetic items, hair, beard,
Oh, sweet.
shirts,
More
and stuff
hairs?
like that. Yeah,
I'm looking for the mohawk. Is there a mohawk?
there
I wouldn't
is.
actually rock a mohawk. A
can't
faux
remember.
hawk?
Do I have
Even
that
better.
Yeah.
Here's a thing that's cool. When you open a loot crate, you can see inside.
Yeah. I thought that
Before
cool.
it was like a loot crate, and you just BD would just like hop inside, and it was
Yeah.
probably just an empty box.
Yeah.
I found this.
Yeah, I like it. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, everything just feels on point in this game. It feels like you guys said already, like it feels like Fallen Order, but they just improved it. And yeah, I don't know. So far, I mean, I have a lot of gameplay left, but so far I'm just really into it. I'm always happy for more Star Wars content, like we already kind of talked about. Like even the bad Star Wars, I usually still kind of like. But this to me is probably some of the best we've gotten. Fallen Order story wise was some of the best Star Wars we'd gotten, because at that point we hadn't even gotten the first season of Mandalorian yet. So, and frankly, like no hate on any of the movies for those who love them or hate them, but I still think it was my favorite piece at that point. Maybe I like Solo more.
This is all considered EU.
No, this is canon. Everything is
Really?
canon.
Oh.
As of right now, my understanding is Disney isn't putting out anything that isn't canon. So even like their kid shows and like other things. Well, even they did a series on YouTube that wasn't even on Disney Plus, where Ahmad Best, Jar Jar Binks, was a Jedi, and he did Jedi Temple challenges. It was like a kids show. I guess this is a huge spoiler or minor spoiler for Mandalorian, but that his character
Was
from
in it.
that game show.
Oh, I didn't know this from anything else.
Yeah, he was playing that character from that game show. Like they're canonizing everything, which
Yeah.
I do appreciate.
He's part of Grogu's survival.
Yeah, he's reason probably the biggest one at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Jar Jar.
yeah, thanks Jar Jar. Yeah, here we go.
Crazy.
But yeah, no, I just one of the things I really appreciate, because it did. I know people always go on tangents about how like I miss the old EU, and granted I do too. I read a ton of books and like I loved them,
I started Heir to the Empire several times.
dude. So good.
Did not
Heir to
finish.
the Empire trilogy. Well,
Saw that coming.
Guess what?
classic Jalen. Didn't finish it.
I'll probably start to listen to this episode and then tail off.
It's gonna be a long one, so I mean, I don't blame you.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's not the longest though. But yeah, I appreciate Disney actually like kind of keeping everything in canon. Like they're not putting anything out without some level of purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it kind of sucked. You'd get these really good books, but George Lucas could decide back then what he wanted to take and didn't. He took a lot from it, but not everything. So now,
And is that even really that different than what's going on now?
no, it's the exact same. They've taken a lot from the old EU. We have Thrawn, so, and plenty of other things. So, I don't know. So yeah, overall, I mean, we're not rating Survivor, but I definitely think for a Star Wars fan, it's a must buy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think, honestly, even if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, it's just a good game.
Yeah. The only thing with that is I hope they play the first one because it would be a little confusing if you hadn't.
Yeah, you got to play the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a fun game. And this, man, I could go on and on about just how much fun I have exploring.
Yeah.
So that's success right there. If something as monotonous as just walking around can be fun, they're doing something right.
Yeah.
So, well, I did ask on Instagram and on Discord for people's favorite Star Wars games. So let me pull that up, and we'll read some of the responses that we got, because we got quite a few. We're going to start with Instagram. You gotta give me a second here as I try to position my phone so I don't get feedback through the mic. All right, so we're going to start here with Jimmy Dunmire, response numero uno. He said that he's always had a soft spot for Super Star Wars on the SNES. Good luck in the Sandcrawler, which is God, that level is so frustrating. Going back to that game years later as an adult, thinking I'm better at games than when I was a kid, I got to the Sandcrawler and rage quit. That was so frustrating. Then Hannah Dunmire said Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars, anything before the Skywalker saga. She does hate the Skywalker saga. She has made that clear. It hits the spot for puzzles, but also destruction. That is true. Also, Lego Star Wars is something else that has aged me recently when I realized that Lego Star Wars is coming up on 20 years old. And like I still think of Lego Star Wars as being, or the Lego games as being like a new thing.
Yeah. Look, man, they're fun. You can
I
just like
agree.
smash everything and get little Lego bits. It's satisfying. And ultimately, they're funny. Like every Lego game to me is like,
they have laugh out loud moments for
Yeah.
sure. Jay Choi said he criminally doesn't have one. So you got to fix that, Justin.
That's a crime.
Yeah.
We're going to lock you up, J-Joy.
Yeah. No
Do
more
I
Hot
have
Girl
a
Summer.
recommendation for you, buddy?
Oh, let's go. What is your recommendation? If you used to play one Star
Jedi
Wars game,
Survivor.
Jedi Survivor.
play Jedi Survivor.
Well, you got to
Justin.
play Fallen Order first.
Yeah.
But you
Sorry,
can
gotta
rush
play
through
two
it.
games.
You don't have to do all the side stuff. You can rush
Just
through
rush
it, figure
through
out
it,
what's going
play
on,
Survivor.
then play Survivor.
Or be like me and just watch the gameplay.
Honestly, that's probably what
Yeah,
I'll do.
I mean,
I don't know if he doesn't have a PS5 or Xbox series, so unless his PC is good enough to run it, which I don't know.
nope.
Well, you're watching
Nobody
the videos,
does.
Justin.
They don't make PCs good enough to run it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Touche. Let's see. Connor Snow said Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. So he
Sorry,
loved
Hannah.
it. Hannah hated it. Wusiji Doctor said Super Bombad Racing. Haven't played it. I just want to hear it brought up. So Super Bombad Racing is not as bad as the reviews would have you believe. Did you guys? You look
I
like
don't
you don't
even
have
know
any
what that
idea. So it was obviously a part of the. I mean, it came out after Episode 1, but it was a kind of a tie-in of sorts because it was a racing game like Mario Kart ish, but each of the characters was in like their signature ship from the series. So like Anakin was in a pod racer, Darth Maul was in his whatever they call his ship,
Bike thing or is
The Sith
the
Infiltrator.
Sith Infiltrator, and they all had really large heads. So it was really ugly, like a very like ugly game.
name a
sounds
better
familiar.
combo like the late 90s, early 2000s, and big head mode.
No, exactly. Big head
Oh,
mode was so
yeah.
big in like every sports game. Yeah, no, that was the thing. You just really small ships, really big heads. But it was actually it was one of my early PS2 games, and of course, I had what my parents bought me. I liked it. Like if I went back now, I might hate it, but 13-year-old me thought it was a solid game.
Heck yeah.
You were the target audience.
yeah.
That's all that matters.
Exactly. Maybe other 13-year-olds were smarter and hated it, but I wasn't one of those ones. Okay, let's see. Gabriel Blackford said any of the X-Wing PC series, which also we didn't mention, but literally like probably some of the best early Star Wars games as far as just pure quality goes. Like X-Wing and TIE Fighter, those games get so much positive love from how good they were back then. Okay, then I had a few people who messaged me actual full-on responses instead of just the short ones. So this was from the Righteous Sombrero. They said, KOTOR would probably be my easy answer, but I'll go with definitely Republic Commando. I would say it holds a special place in my heart. Moving story, wonderfully janky squad commands, and cool weapon swaps.
Wonderfully janky.
The game's got it all. An honorable mention would include Empire at War, if no one's mentioned it, which they haven't. That game didn't get enough credit. And that game always looked really cool to me. Another RTS, much later, like late 2000s, I think. Never played it, but I thought it looked awesome. Kind of makes me want to play it. And Republic Commando, I have still never played. And that game I've only ever heard good things about.
Yeah.
So it needs to be on my list. Like, as a Star Wars fan, I almost feel like kind of like ashamed.
I know that game was pretty groundbreaking visually
Yeah.
at one time.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
It had like rain on your visor that it would wipe off and stuff
or
like
like
that.
the guts from the Geonosians
Yeah.
and stuff. And it was pretty like those clones apparently that you.
Or your visors wiping off Genos and guts.
Well, why wouldn't they?
You're right.
It's there for a reason.
Yeah, you got to get rid of the
It's
guts,
for
man.
rain and for guts.
At least it's not the children's guts.
Yeah.
And we're back.
There's no children guts in that game.
Excuse me.
Chris is out.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun to me. So yeah, thanks for that. That's actually, I'm glad somebody brought those up because those are two I hadn't thought about much because I hadn't played them. Then Alex gave. Alex isn't loading right now, so we'll go back to that in a second. Jordan said that Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo was probably his, and not just because of playing it, but watching me and James do the extra lives cheat over and over again for what felt like hours. And he's also, when I think Star Wars games, I immediately picture the Sandcrawler level from that game. And he put a heart, but I believe maybe that's because he's sick, because that level sucks. I hate that level.
What a sicko.
Yeah, sick in the head. No, Super Star Wars is super good. Super.
Super duper.
And let's see here. So that Alex's is loaded now. So Alex said, I don't think I can pick just one as my favorite. So I'll say Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight and Battlefront Renegade Squadron, which is on the PSP. Jedi Knight captured my 12-year-old attention as the first game to have real lightsaber fighting, and the live-action cutscenes just took it over the top. And add in a pretty good story, challenging gameplay, and Kyle Katarn, and you've got a winning game. But I played a Tauntaun... So stupid. It got me. I just realized what he did. But I played a Tauntaun instead of a ton of Renegade Squadron on my PSP. Playing through the story mode, you take part of side stories in the Star Wars universe that are mentioned in the movies, like the Rebel attack on Sullust that was meant to divert the Empire's attention in the final battle against the Death Star 2. And the real reason, though, is the campaign mode, which I got through in the game, got good enough in the game to bring 10 Rebel troops against 100 from the Empire, let my other 9 soldiers die, and then wipe out the Imperials by myself. Just wanted to prove that he was the GOAT. Literally bring in a squad of 10 and watch 9 of them die so he can take out 100. That's pretty funny, actually. And then last from the Instagram responses was my friend Keldrick, who said, I think my answer is going to be Force Unleashed. It may not live up to my memory of it, but I remember it being really good, and I beat it in one sitting. It's actually impressive. He said, but also the Lego Star Wars games. Shocking my brother when I was R2-D2 and he was C-3PO, making it so he couldn't move was great. Sibling love right
Classic.
I feel like my little brother was doing that.
And then I hit him in the head.
He bled that time.
there. Yeah, Pinecone and Wii Remote.
Yeah. Double combo. Range and melee.
To which Jar Jar said,
Call wait.
all right, and Jalen, do you mind reading off the Discord responses?
Sure. We have an entry from Vomnik, Nick Espinosa. His best game, Star Wars game, would be the Best Buy demo of Rogue Squadron for GameCube. He mentioned that may be the happiest I've ever been, was playing that for an hour at Best Buy as a kid while my parents were trying to decide which TV plus DVD to buy.
Dude, love it.
One
I love that he
DVD.
was never happier than at Best Buy.
We're buying one TV and one DVD to watch on that TV.
And that is it.
That's it.
And it was where the heart is.
Good choice.
Was there another one you wanted me to check
There's a
out?
couple above that, I think.
Okay. Jer Bear?
Jer Bear.
Jer Bear says, though I'm sure I'm missing, but to keep it somewhat short, nostalgia factor would be Rogue Squadron games. Gold medals, baby.
Baby.
Battlefront 2 for the mods. Republic Commandos added. And Republic Commando Scorch for the win.
See, somebody else loving the Republic Commando. And we're talking about one of the specific clones, because apparently they're great.
We got Tenderfoot Ace, which is...
Rodney.
Rodney.
Rodarb.
Rodarb says Battlefront 2 with being able to play iconic missions and characters, also using different ships. Close second is Fallen Order. It's a better Force Unleashed and I love that game. Lol. Better story and gameplay. I
did
love
laugh out loud.
the patient and parry style duels.
Get it.
And then we have 2 Joel Knutsons. TIE Fighter! Because it's the only Star Wars game where you can get cool glowing purple tattoos on your arm if you go above and beyond to help out your old pal Palpatine. Purple tats.
Papa Palpatine.
And then finally, also shout out to Yoda Stories for being the worst Star Wars game I've ever played. But it didn't stop me from playing it for many hours on my dad's computer.
Which one?
Yoda Stories.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. What is that?
It was a really niche like Game Boy game that was also on PC, and like I've never played it. As a kid, I thought it looked really cool because it's like over the top, and you control Luke running around like Dagobah, I think. And I don't really know what the point of the game is, but apparently it's terrible. So he did come in later and say, "Actually, I've changed my mind. Masters of Terrakasi is the worst Star Wars game ever." And that game was pretty bad, but I just thought it was cool that you could get March 8. So
Has she ever made an appearance in any?
nothing even old, like non-canon stuff, just the books.
Where does she fit in the timeline?
In the old EU, she came around probably about 10 years after the Return of the Jedi. She was
Okay.
Palpatine's like hidden like right hand like assassin.
Right.
And then throughout the series of Heir to the Empire,
So she could show up in Ahsoka.
they could bring her in. Obviously, they'd have to change the story some unless they keep CGing or recast Luke because it's kind of weird. I mean, her whole thing was eventually like her and Luke fall in love and get married and have little kids that I can't kill.
I'm out.
Just
No.
wait for the game.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that one. No, I'd really like kids. I mean, not really, but no, I do. I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore.
We love kids.
I think
We do
we've
not-
heard enough
we
about
do-
you and kids,
Yeah.
Chris.
We all love children.
People
we
don't
do
know what
not
to think.
condone the killing of children in any medium.
No,
whether-
not even a Phantom
Video
Menace.
Speak for yourself, pal.
Good.
I shouldn't have done it. I felt guilty. Oh man. So, any other thoughts on Star Wars or Survivor, or I guess any final thoughts whatsoever?
Will Cal Kestis make a live action debut?
What a missed opportunity if he doesn't.
Right?
He
Especially when you model the character after the actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is him. There's
Yeah.
no-
Well, even I was playing Survivor and Alex is like, "Oh, he looks like this guy from this show I've watched." I'm like, "Well, it's him." Yeah.
Jasmine said the same thing. Like that looks just like that, like him.
What's his name?
Cameron Monaghan.
The weird redhead kid from Malcolm in the Middle. That's his name.
Is he from Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah.
Wow, what a
He was
come
in
up.
Dewey's class.
Oh,
He was like the crazy kid with the oven mitts.
What we need is a Frankie Muniz collab somehow in this
yeah.
game.
Or maybe a Breaking Bad meets Malcolm in the Middle's Cameron Monaghan.
The collab we didn't know we needed.
Yeah. Oh man.
Frankie
I hope
Muniz is Grease, didn't you know?
Curveball. Yeah, I hope we see him in Ahsoka. That'd be really cool.
I do
It
too.
would,
Some
yeah.
level of live action. I always think back to Starkiller in Force Unleashed, and that was one of the first times where we had an actor use his likeness in a game like so much, and they've never done anything with it. And even though he's older, he still looks just like the guy.
Yeah.
But I wish they'd bring him in. But at the very least, like you're using the likeness, you have the opportunities. Put him in some form of the media that we have now. TV, movie, don't care. Do it.
Come on, Disney. Come on, Dave. Come on, John. Kathleen.
Come on, somebody.
Bob.
Any of you. Do it. Is there somebody else? Who are we
else
forgetting?
can I name?
Bring George Lucas back. Let's have him do it. No, I don't know. Star Wars, man. I think we all love Star Wars.
Yeah.
Love it, baby.
I look forward to doing more Star Wars episodes in the future. I want to do more like touching on specific series of games and kind of like deep diving into them a little bit more. So maybe I can have you guys on for some of those in the future again too.
Or you film 2 more episodes the next 2 days because you got to get so it's May the 4th. Then there's Revenge of the 5th, and then
Return of the 6th.
or is it Revenge of the
No,
6th?
Return of the 6th doesn't make sense. Revenge of the 5th makes sense. No, I don't know. I don't know what they are.
Am I going insane?
Maybe.
Anyways,
Going?
Google it.
It's a thing. Just believe him. No, but thank you guys for joining me. Thanks for hosting the video.
Yeah.
Super cool.
This will come out eventually, guys. Don't think it's coming out tonight.
No,
Hold
this
your breath.
episode will air before that, and that's
You'll pass out.
It'll just be cool to have this video.
Yeah.
So, and thank you everybody who commented too. I appreciate having so much feedback too. It's nice to have the participation. So, but on that note, we'll go ahead and conclude. So remember that you can follow me at XButton Gaming on Instagram and XButton Gaming 1 on Twitter, and remember to always press X to continue.